Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today we've got the pleasure of watching HADNOORISH from the European server playing in the American Tier 10 heavy tank. It is the T110E5, and you know, it's been a while since I was commentating on other players' replays, but when I saw HADNOORISH's game, I just knew that I had to share it, at least with the audience that's going to be watching it on YouTube today. HADNOORISH is going to have a cracking round for the T110E5, as you would expect when the title of the video is going to be had the best game of their life. It's not a small feat when a player who's as good as HADNOORISH claims that, and trust me, you're not going to be disappointed with this one. Alright, so HADNOORISH is playing on the Chinese map, Empire's Border, a map where it's really hard to decide where you're going to be going at the start of the battle. Do you want to try and progress down the south flank? Do you want to try and push through this middle area? Do you want to maybe try and go and support the light tanks or the medium tanks that culminate in the center of the map? Or alternatively, go down that kind of awkward northern route. I personally prefer the position that HADNOORISH is going into. I think dominating this central location here allows you to react to punish anyone who pushes through the south. It also allows you to put some pressure up on any medium and light tanks that are trying to locate themselves in the center of the map. And it also means that if you go up into that location where the RU-251 is, you can sometimes even get shots through the valley. I.e., it's a location that can quickly react to however the rest of the map goes. And if you can put yourself in those locations in World of Tanks, that is how you can also be incredibly impactful in the majority of your battles. Now look, sometimes it doesn't matter where you put yourself, your team are just going to absolutely fall apart. And no matter how well you play, it's just going to be one of those rounds where it feels like, yeah, it was an uncarryable game. HADNOORISH is going to be in one of those situations as well. And oh, with awful luck like that, bouncing off the turret of the RU-251, every ricochet will count to whether they're able to get through this battle. One thing I'd also like to highlight in this replay is that HADNOORISH is trying to do Heavy Tank 15 for the Object 260, one of the hardest missions to do in the game. They're also trying to do Mission 12 for the Object 279E, but that's really not one that we're going to focus on. HADNOORISH is doing the hardest mission for the Object 260, Heavy Tank 15, and we're going to see whether they're going to be able to get through that one. They have to do 14,000 combined damage, spotting, and blocked. Or is it actually not spotting? No, it's just damage, damage received, and also block damage. And they have to survive, and they have to win the battle if they want to do it with honors. So this is exactly what I was saying about why locating in this location is so strong. Even if you win the south, you are now able to try and deal with what looks like a wave of very powerful tanks. We've got a 257, we've got an IS-7, and we've even got a Clan Wars reward tank, a Chieftain, on the right. And HADNOORISH, it's a really interesting situation here. Now, of course, what's the Chieftain firing? Yeah, it's going to be gold, right into the top weak point of the T110E5, and definitely one of the downsides to playing this vehicle. However, HADNOORISH is also loading the gold themselves, and they are going to be going to town, firstly finishing off the 257, and now paying attention to the IS-2 too. But not so much attention that they tunnel vision and allow that German light tank that bounced their round earlier, not bouncing this one, and shuts down the ambush from the side while still also focusing on the IS-2 too. This situation is just absolutely bizarre because HADNOORISH has 3 artillery helping him, and this whole wave of enemy tanks don't seem to want to commit to the situation. They shouldn't have hesitated. They should have all gone up the slope straight towards HADNOORISH while they still had hit points. And it's this kind of hesitation that is meaning that even though they're down 3,500 hit points at this stage. Oh, that's a good roll. That was one that you didn't want to low roll on there. Otherwise, the Borask would have delivered 720 damage on average at the back of HADNOORISH's T110E5. So the Chieftain continuing to advance, able to shoot the weak point on top of the T110E5, showing why that vehicle is just so strong on a ridgeline. However, the Chieftain seems to be getting a little bit greedy, coming around the corner before the IS-7 has assisted and not even waiting for the artillery on their team to be able to pummel the back of HADNOORISH's tank. HADNOORISH bounces the Chieftain, and because the T110E5 has the lower alpha damage and also very decent damage per minute. It's able to reload before the Chieftain, finish them off, and also ricochet around from the IS-7. HADNOORISH gets up in the face of the Soviet heavy tank, usually something the Soviet heavy tank would be doing to another vehicle, and I love this pressure play. HADNOORISH is putting their gun in the barrel of the IS-7 to try and absorb the shell to stop them from shooting the weak point on top of the tank. The IS-7 chokes the shell, and HADNOORISH is able to put another heat round down onto the IS-7's hull armor. With 4 heat rounds left and 1 into the IS-7, HADNOORISH has just absolutely dominated that flank. And a good thing too, even with 6 kills, 6,000 damage, having dealt with all of the enemy's top tier tanks there with the IS-7 and the Chieftain, not single-handedly, they did have some support, but kind of as close to single-handedly as you can pretty much have in World of Tanks. The game is still neck and neck, or shall I say not even neck and neck. The enemy team is probably head and shoulders ahead here with 6 remaining vehicles, of which 3 are tanks and 3 are self-propelled guns. And HADNOORISH only has a Charfu Tier 4 on their team that is now down to 121 hit points and seems to be losing the duel against the Tier 9 Polish, the medium tank. Will the CS-59 finish off the Charfu Tier 4, who looks like they might have been caught reloading, or will artillery on the enemy team also finish off the Charfu Tier 4? Luckily, the Charfu Tier 4 puts 1 more into the CS-59, putting them down to a 1-shot for HADNOORISH, and thus begins a 1 versus 6 situation in World of Tanks. If HADNOORISH wants to complete his Heavy Tank 15 mission and earn the Object 260, then he's going to have to kill 6 players on the enemy team. HADNOORISH takes 1 round from the Batchat, bounces the second. Looks like that Batchat was unfortunately for them using the 90mm caliber gun, giving them low penetration, which is why they ricocheted the second shell against HADNOORISH's tank. And HADNOORISH doesn't hesitate and slams the first kill out of 6, now with 5 remaining vehicles on the enemy team. Now I wonder if HADNOORISH was as eagle-eyed as I was, noticing that the CS-59 is now down to a 1-shot. HADNOORISH is not waiting around here. You need to pressure the enemy team while you can, and looks like HADNOORISH catches the CS-59 ill-prepared, maybe talking to their team, not expecting him to advance towards them like an American assault, shutting down the CS-59, and now up to 8 kills. That is a Radley Walters medal secured here now for HADNOORISH, and now they're in a 1 versus 4 scenario, and oh gosh, that's not what you want to see. A full health Tiger 2 on the enemy team. You'd hope that they were going to be a 1-shot in this scenario. No, that's another 1,600 hit points that HADNOORISH is going to have to average roll 4 shells into to take out. Now, this is an interesting scenario. HADNOORISH is kind of hesitating here, but there's the SU also down to a low amount of hit points now with 1 shot left in them. The Tiger 2 advancing towards HADNOORISH, and HADNOORISH is now down to 2 high explosive anti-tank rounds, which they're going to use to put pressure on the Tiger 2's hull armor here. The first round goes in, the second round goes in. This is where 340mm of penetration goes to just allow you to not even really have to aim at the weak points of the enemy vehicles. I like this play. HADNOORISH not going for the Tiger 2, having managed to ricochet a high explosive anti-tank round from the Su-130PM, pushes their advantage, shuts down the Tier 8 Soviet tank destroyer with the turret, and now heals the stun from the Su-130, but doesn't manage to heal the second stun. This is a disaster, and the Tiger 2, luckily for him, bounces a gold round off the lower plate of the T-125, but now stunned. The reload is awful. HADNOORISH struggles to be able to get the side of the Tiger 2 and leaves them on a single hit point. You could not be adding more drama to this game. Luckily, however, with the stun fading off, HADNOORISH manages to reload the final shell for the Tiger 2 in the tank, and now up to 9,000 damage and 10 kills. That is a Pools medal. Funny how things work. The Tiger 2, starting on 1,600 hit points, ends up taking 1,599 damage, and that is really where the 50-50s in World of Tanks could not be closer, and can also change whether you're going to be winning the game or losing the game. Because of that low roll, well, it wasn't really a low roll, but the 50-50 coin flip loss as to whether the 4 120mm rounds will kill the 1,600 hit point tank or not, means that Tiger 2 is going to get the extra shot in. And now HADNOORISH is down to 69 hit points. This is getting quite interesting, right? 1 hit point left, 69 hit points on HADNOORISH. You couldn't script this stuff, right? Truly why? Not only is HADNOORISH, according to them, having the best game of their lives, this is also some quality replay for YouTube. Alright, so HADNOORISH, in this situation in the T110E5, having vanquished 10 of the enemy tanks, still has 2 self-propelled guns left, and having lost that extra hit points to the Tiger II, is now down to a very low amount of hit points, where a simple splash anywhere near their vehicle from the American self-propelled guns will surely shut them down. And they will not do Heavy Tank 15 with honors unless they win this battle by capturing the enemy base or destroying all of the enemy vehicles. Now, I like what HADNOORISH is doing here. They're loading a high explosive round. The high explosive rounds on this tank have 60mm of penetration and 515 alpha damage. That means that if he engages the M53-55 and shoots them in the structure, then they're probably going to be able to shut them down, unless they mega low roll. And that's because the M53-55 has 450 hit points. So if they were firing AP right now, they would be an underdog to shut them down with a single round. Using the HE will mean that they can either splash at the tracks to lock the artillery in place while you reload the AP to secure the kill shot, or be able to shut them down with a single shell. The M40-43 on the enemy team, I believe, has 400 hit points, and so the high explosive round still means that the 50-50 will be improved. HADNOORISH goes around the corner and penetrates the high explosive round. Can you believe how close the M53-55 managed to get to them without being spotted? And that is what you want to see. Now up to 9,600 damage. Are we going to see a 5-figure damage total here from HADNOORISH, or is this going to be the ultimate heartbreak? Even if HADNOORISH doesn't manage to secure the kill against the final American self-propelled gun, this would still be up there, but with got to be one of, if not their best games of all time. But they're claiming it's their best. Whether this is going to be a heartbreak or not, it just remains to be seen. Now the M40-43 knows exactly where HADNOORISH is. Will they be preparing an ambush from the left? Will they be preparing an ambush from the right? I am getting sweaty just looking at this. Come on, HADNOORISH. Don't choke right now. Just put one more HE round into the artillery. There you go! Right into the top of the tank. What a result. 12 kills, 10,000 damage that we saw, and pretty much putting their team single-handedly on their back, vanquishing the Clan Wars reward tank, firing gold at them. The Chieftain, with the support of the IS-7, was just absolute World of Tanks magic. Look, HADNOORISH, it's not often that I'm sitting here thinking that you couldn't have played this game any better. And in fact, that's exactly how I feel. Congratulations to you on one of my favorite games of World of Tanks that I've ever seen. And thank you so much for uploading it on the What Replays website for the community to enjoy. Just look at this plethora of hero medals here. A Pascucci's medal for destroying 2 self-propelled guns. The one that everybody wants, the Kolobanov's medal for standing alone against at least 5 opponents, in this case 6. The Pools medal for securing at least 10 kills, in this case 12. A Steel Wall medal. How much damage was blocked here? 3,580, enough to kill the T110E5 a couple times over. And a High Caliber for that magical 10,019 damage. And of course, you're going to get an ace tank for 1,715 base, right? HADNOORISH still makes a half-decent profit, even after resupplying consumables and ammunition at full price. And what left is there really to say? HADNOORISH, congratulations to you on this mammoth game. Definitely up there for a contender as one of the best in 2021. But we've got a few more months left to see what other kind of awesome replays people are able to have and upload them on the What Replays website. So once again, HADNOORISH, thank you so much to you for submitting this replay on What Replays. An incredible game, and I hope that my commentary was able to do you justice. And I hope everybody out there watching on YouTube enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments down below, what was the best game of World of Tanks of your life? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.